All right, shared.
All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen of the interwebs, this is the Beacon TVL Show, your show for the greatest takes of the crypto and DeFi space. We'll give you a little bit of alpha. We'll also answer your questions here on the show. I'm Chris, the co-founder of Beacon DeFi and the head coach, saying hello to all of everybody in our group, our Beacon Mastermind and our founding members, of course. Thanks to all of you for helping making this possible. And of course, our free group, Total Value Locked TVL, on the school platform. Let me put the link here coming across the bottom. For absolutely free, you can learn to become a competent DeFi investor from zero to pro. Learn from the best in the business. Join for absolutely free. School.com/beacon. Today's guest, we have Felipe from Safeyields. Thank you for coming, sir. Good to see you.
Thanks, Chris. It's good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Of course. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Safeyields in just a little bit to find out what you guys are doing on the Arbitrum blockchain, whether blockchains you're going to, and also to just really just kind of talk shop, figure out what what got you here, and find out what things that you think that are interesting, and especially out there being in the EU, like what's the sentiment on a lot of different things in DeFi. But before we get there, we'll take a quick look at the markets for today. Still hovering around 61. Looks like Bitcoin is holding the bull market support band out that way. So good to see there's some good defense of that here. Let me go ahead and make this a little bit larger for anybody who's watching on their TVs and cannot see anything that I'm showing here. Oops, that's a little bit too much. Let's go back out to 125. There we go. And yeah, so we're looking at a little bit of movement, a lot of news. There's been a lot of red, specifically with Mt. Gox. I'm going to distribute the BTC that's been holding back to people sometime in the next couple of weeks. More of a sell the news event. So I don't think it's too much to worry about, honestly. Everything seems to be holding. And yeah, we're not looking 50K Bitcoin back in the face. That's good to know. Felipe, are you a pretty big investor in BTC and ETH, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an OG, so I still keep them in my bags.
Are you worried about some of the news that you're hearing, or is this all part of the correction on the way back up?
Yeah, not really. I was actually hoping for this to happen, to be honest.
Yeah,
DCA a little bit anymore.
Exactly. See, then that's the right mindset to have. So again, if you are scared, if you're trying to be one of those people that are selling their bags, don't do that. Buy more. That's the idea. DCA back into it. This is your chance. People are wanting a chance to accumulate. This is your chance to accumulate. So, we'll go into our main section of what's going on today with the news, and that is today actually is the Blast airdrop. So I believe it was 10 a.m. Eastern. So if you go to blast.io/en for the airdrop, Blast being a layer 2 that was out to go against Manta Pacific and some of these other layer 2s that are out there. I believe it's based on the Optimism OP stack. So a lot of money coming over, is backed by Paradigm and Andrew Kang and eGirl Capital and some of these others. Currently, they got to 2 billion TVL very quickly, and they've held it there because people had to bridge over ETH to get points. And, it is what it is. There are a lot of people who got decent amounts. There are people who got a fraction of what they thought. But if you're out there, just make sure you go to the airdrop. You have to be on an account that has already been connected. I don't have that here. This is a regular web browser. But ultimately, they are dispersing 17 billion tokens on the airdrop. 50% go to the community. There's a specific amount going to original Blast Point and gold holders of 7% each. And then 3% will be going to the Blur Foundation. So the founder of Blur is the main person behind this blockchain. So there is a lot of synergies with Blur, the NFT marketplace on ETH mainnet. So Felipe, were you involved much in the Blast in farming Blast at all?
To be completely honest, I wasn't. I followed it, but like on the sidelines. I know some people who got involved, and they're pretty happy with how it's going.
That's good. I'm going to point out. So I do want to point this out. I know one person. It's already been making the rounds in a bunch of the network chats that I'm in. This this person, I don't know if this is just cap. I'll be honest. This could be total cap. So he's upset. And yeah, I think this is, now that I think about it, it's like FUD, right? He deposited 50 million on Blast and he only got 100,000 airdrop. So he's really upset. He's calling the whole chain a complete scam. And I was like, wow, he really got, you know, really just taken, not taken, but didn't really do that well. Because if you think about it, do the math, that's a 0.002% return on investment, right? Granted, this is an airdrop. So expecting the best for something like this. I mean, he got 100K just for bridging over 50 million in ETH. But that also leads me to the next question. It's like, are you really that big of a degen that you would bridge over $50 million? To that, I think that, to me, that's crazy. I mean, that's supremely degen. So I don't know exactly, you know, what he was looking for, but I think it's kind of, I'll be honest, insane that he's going to try and dunk on this team or this blockchain for only getting, you know, 100,000 coins. And that's a ton of money. I mean, and there's still multipliers on the backside. So one thing we talked about last week on the show is sign up for all the multipliers you can. I believe you can get up to 24x on that. So really, if he didn't get any multipliers, that's absolutely on him. But hopefully for those who got the multipliers, which were actually retroactive up until this morning, which we talked about last week, then you should be good to go. I did not really farm Blast either. I farmed a couple protocols on Blast. I saw the issues that they had with things like the rug for Munchables and just the bad exploit for Super Samurai. Oh, whatever the SSS token is from the Corbata team. But yeah, they've had some bad luck, but they've also had some good luck with a lot of people sticking around. So my hope is that at least for these, you know, for these users, I guess the best question is, are they going to continue to have to keep the TVL going? Because at least for ZK, the value has already gone down by almost by half for ZK Sync. And then layer 0, as you know, we had a lot of people who did really well, sold right away. For those who held, like most of the team here, we held layer 0. Did you get a layer 0 airdrop at all, Felipe?
I didn't also.
Okay.
I must say, we've been so busy developing.
Understood.
You know, personal investments kind of got pushed aside.
No worries. But yeah, for us, we got a good allocation. I mean, we got farmed for 2 years, but you know, we believe in the tech, and hopefully it comes back up. It did start at $4 for anybody who did claim. We had members who got excellent allocations, 4 or 5 figures, and they sold above $4. I think someone even had almost $5 on their sell. So congrats to them. I did want to point out for any of our users who are in our Total Value Lock community or in our mastermind community, we have a post your win section. If you actually got a win, please let us know, post about it. And we want to celebrate that because we celebrate all the wins that we have for all of our users. And again, this is absolutely free to join us at school.com/beacon. So we'll go and move on to the next news item that I want to talk about. And I'm only saying this because this is actually no, where's the other one that I had? Well, I guess I forgot to put that in there. A little bit of a homer moment, as I do hail from the state of Nebraska. Representative Mike Flood is in fighting for the everyday person to get DeFi to be seen. He actually uses the word DeFi in the talks that he has with people on Capitol Hill. In any case, we'll move on to Representative Matt Gaetz from the state of Florida. He's looking to introduce a bill to require the U.S. IRS to accept Bitcoin as payment for federal income taxes. I don't know how I feel about this, but I know that we've talked about this a lot. Municipalities, you can pay for services, you can pay for taxes using Bitcoin. Now, the state of Colorado already does this. They've done this since September of 2022. You actually can pay with, I guess, multiple types of crypto. The thing is, you have to use PayPal's cryptocurrencies hub, which means you will be paying mucho fees on that transaction. But I don't know, Felipe, if you had the choice to pay income tax or any type of municipal services with a Bitcoin wallet, would you do it?
I'm really not sure how I feel about it as well. I mean, it really depends on the tax system itself. I mean, here in Europe it's completely different, so I'm not sure how would that work. Yeah, I'm really not sure how I feel about it, to be honest. I mean, maybe to try it out, I would. It really depends on how the control is set on the government and the implications that has to the users.
Exactly. And I think that's exactly the point is my worry too, is that when it comes to Web3, when it comes to self-custody, you know, your coins, your crypto, one thing that a lot of people are curious about is, you know, privacy, right? If I'm holding, you know, coins in a cold storage wallet, you know, it's like, would an audit trace all of that back to my funds and they could know how much I'm holding? I guess it comes to personal preference when it comes to stuff like that, right? But for me personally, you're already charging me a ridiculous amount on capital gains tax just for holding crypto, whether it's unrealized or not. Do I want to pay in that same now, if they allow me to do it tax free, to not tax me on making that payment, I might consider it. Maybe if they allow me to use a wallet that maybe I just whitelist and I just send money to it to pay for it. But outside of that, you know, like you said, I'm a little shaky on any sovereign nation taking digital payment like that, especially ones that are very loose with regulations. And I don't know what's going to come of it from there. Now, if there's a strong case where, like in Switzerland, where they've been doing this for a little bit, I'd probably be more apt to do it, just because it's just the convenience factor. But also for me, I think the privacy factor is probably the biggest issue that I have. Also, why would I pay with BTC? do you take USDC? Do you take XRP? Sorry, that's a joke for anyone who holds XRP. I don't think I want to pay with Bitcoin. Give me something else and I'll consider. USD Tether, anything else, probably not Bitcoin, you know, because that's an asset I'm looking to hold long. So yeah, for me, I don't think that would be something that I definitely wouldn't want to consider paying taxes with. I think this is a great point from Susan, who says it's the same as asking if they can pay taxes with gold coins. Kind of, same energy, right? I don't know if I just don't think I would want to do that. Yeah, give me another asset and I'd do it. What were you saying, Felipe? Sorry about that.
I was about to comment something very similar. Should I bring gold bars to pay my taxes?
Yeah, they'd probably have a long conversation with you on how you acquired the gold bars. So I don't know. It's if they made it frictionless and they made it private using a private blockchain, I'd consider it, but I never would pay with Bitcoin. I'd pay with some other recognized coin, even if that meant that I had to go deposit something to get whatever this let's even call it like a CBDC or something like that. I would only consider it if I didn't have to pay with my actual Bitcoin. That's just me personally. So
yeah, agreed.
All right, we'll move on to let's see. You know what? Speaking of Bitcoin, let's talk about Osmosis. So Cosmos DAO. Are you a big Cosmos user at all, Felipe?
So I've used it a bit, but again, our main networks are Arbitrum at the moment. So
okay. Well, one thing that Osmosis has kind of come into a little bit of talk is that they recently have put up the vote, and it looks like they're going to become a Bitcoin layer 2, meaning they're going to allow native Bitcoin to be staked in with the system using, they have another mechanism, we talked about this about a month ago, to be able to secure the network with, at least. So it'll be an interesting idea to see how they do it. This was probably one big way to help push that along. The DAO at Osmosis has agreed to adopt fee-free Bitcoin bridging. I will believe that when I see it. I'm just going to say a much cheaper version than what we would normally do. Now, Bitcoin, as you know, Felipe, is a ridiculously difficult asset to get onboarded into DeFi.
Definitely.
There's no real easy way without having to pay a ridiculous amount of fees, waiting 3 to 6 hours for it to show up on a blockchain where you then have to pay more bridging fees to get to where you want to use it. But I have been bullish on Cosmos because they have a blockchain or a protocol named Nomic that has a bridge that is working, that's been looking to do kind of what WBTC and TBTC from Threshold do on the EVM side. So Nomic has their NBTC, which is a wrapped version of Bitcoin that you mint using existing Bitcoin. So this is what Osmosis is looking to do, is that they're doing a rev share proposal, which will, I guess, cover the gas to now allow Nomic to bridge Bitcoin directly into Osmosis. Now, Osmosis being the largest DEX on Cosmos, this is a good sign, because at least in our groups, many people come in asking, well, how can I use my Bitcoin in DeFi? The answer is, there really isn't a good answer right now. There are Bitcoin L2s that are coming up, but they still use synthetic, wrapped assets. Nothing truly works in the same way that it would on an Ethereum-based chain. That doesn't mean it won't happen at some point. I know there are plenty of teams, and we've had a couple here on the show that have talked about different ways they want to do that. I guess it's a matter of how they're really going to make that happen. So any sign of being able to use native Bitcoin in some form on DeFi that's frictionless for most people, that's a win. But I guess we'll see what happens. What do you think, Felipe?
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I'm the only concerns that usually like these kind of projects or ideas just bring up to the table is how secure is it? How secure is the bridging process? How secure is the synthetic asset if they're using one? Aside from that, I think it's great. I mean, you want native tokens flowing around, right? So, and it's been a big topic, Bitcoin layer 2s now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, and it's kind of the problem with ZKs, with Bitcoin layer 2s. They're all doing things a little bit differently because, we don't have a decentralized network of validators to help secure, any type of Bitcoin layer 2, or even on Bitcoin layer 1. There's no real way to unanimously bring all the indexers together to, to settle payments on Bitcoin layer 1 on Lightning. So until they fix that, doing what Osmosis wants to do here, I think is going to be interesting. They're creating what's called alloyed Bitcoin, which is a bit of a derivative that is from all of the different types of Bitcoin that are available on Cosmos as the IBC as a whole. So we'll see how this kind of works out. It's definitely a long play game if you're on Osmosis. Just as a disclaimer, I am a long time Osmosis staker and holder. So not pleased about, Osmosis doing a 70% dive in the last 3 months, but hopefully this kind of stuff brings it back. So we need more of this here, especially for anybody in our group who wants to find good ways to get yield with BTC, even better than like the 2% you get at Aave or something like that. I think this is a win overall. So yeah, excited to see what happens there. Another ecosystem we'll talk about, Felipe, is here at Solana. We talked about some new things that happened with Solana a couple weeks ago with their new extensions. For a couple of protocols who came in, they now offer programmable token operations. So any new protocol can use Solana's token standards to create really interesting locks, like feed, like, capping transfer tax, blacklisting wallet addresses, creating very strict programmable money standards with different types of, Solana SPL tokens. So this is interesting to me personally, as a longtime IT, developer, that now we have what are called blinks through actions. And blinks, so the word blink is a portmanteau. It's just a combination of two words, and it's blockchain and link. So it's the ability to have these actions, in a Web 2 based or a mobile app, to then create a blockchain action based off of that. So we're talking easy minting, easy token transfer, things like that. Phantom and Backpack are going to support this right out of the gate. And I guess we'll see what developers want to do to make things interesting. I think for you specifically, Felipe, this could be interesting. And I don't know if you guys are looking at Solana or if you have experience with Solana, but the ability to use a mobile app or even some type of other gateway or API to, trigger smart contract operations, in a very simple fashion, I think could be good for getting more normal people here into the space.
Yeah, it was definitely good news for us. We've been in chats with Solana for about like a year and a half now. We were like pretty really hard into development. We still didn't even have an MVP, and they were pretty stoked about making some new connections. So, but the only challenge was really Solana was a difficult place to build on. So it has a whole lot of different set of characteristics that you need to pay attention to, and these are definitely good news. I mean, it's just the seamless blockchains make everything, I mean, the best, in my opinion, especially for projects and developers, and even for users. I mean, you want something that it's familiar all around, so definitely good news.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see. So it looks like, just from the picture we showed, that they showed a bunch of social media apps. So the ability for DeFi apps, at least on Solana, to come in and have transactions that you can do from within, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I think that's actually a huge win for DeFi if they can make something work that is more than just a mini game or something like that, right?
Yeah, true.
But you're gonna have to capture TVL somehow. So I think services, I think, is going to be bullish. Again, this is why I call Solana the people's blockchain, because they do a lot of things that are attractive to the everyday person. They have links into payment with Shopify and stuff like that. Stuff like that. So, excited to see what we get here from this. It'll obviously be a while until I think we see a lot of movement on this, just because of how much time, like you mentioned, getting to Solana can be a little bit of a development move. So getting things up and running and well tested, especially for things that Safeyields does, for example, will take some time. So,
yeah.
Wanted to take a quick second, if you don't mind, everybody, please like the stream, get it going. If you're on Twitter, give me a heart, give me a retweet. If you're out on YouTube, like, subscribe, get notifications. We do this every Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern. We have a different panel that comes on, or teams, to show us about their protocol, and we try and get you the best information out here in this space. Again, if you want to join us absolutely free at our TVL, Total Value Locked subgroup, school.com/beacon. And again, thanks to Felipe here from Safeyields. Thank you so much for joining us today. Looking forward to hearing more about Safeyields in just a moment. Before we get there, I kind of wanted to talk about a couple things that have been top of mind for me. We talked about this 3 weeks ago. So there are a lot of services that use fintech to get into DeFi. We had Wire, WYRE was one that had, the ability to bridge money, take fiat money in the US and then turn that into a way to get money into DeFi very easily. Juno Finance, there are a couple others that are out there that use a bank called Evolve Bank and Trust that kind of has been in the forefront, because there are a lot of people who lost a lot of money or have their money frozen in some of these protocols because there's a broker that went in between called Synapse that went out of business because they got called, they got called to the forefront to show their reserves, and they couldn't quite do it very quickly, and then caused a huge issue. So now we're in a situation where people have money caught, and I'm one of those people. So that's the main reason why I talked about it, because we have talked about Juno Finance on some of our content in the past. Unfortunately, the situation has gotten worse. Right now, we're waiting to hear in bankruptcy court about Synapse and seeing what's going to happen with them. But it looks like Evolve, which is a Web3 facing, or at least they were touted as a Web3 facing system, and there are multiple fintech groups that work with Evolve to get money into decentralized finance. Apparently, there's been a leak of information, plain text, because they were held with ransomware from, I believe, a Russian hacker group. This has been verified, by the way, by multiple people. This is a letter they sent out to a banking client, and this is, for the most part, an absolute nightmare for fintech. Just kind of shows how some things, as awesome as they can be a little bit of a house of cards. This is to quote this person, this is the last thing anyone needed right now, specifically if you're looking for fintech to move forward. One thing they also mentioned was that Evolve is really just giving them the ability to have a free credit monitoring activity, which is absolutely terrible because people's name, date of birth, address, and SSN and email are being leaked plain text in these files. So please be very careful. I would take up any offer, at least with your credit bureau, to see if this affects you. But be careful. If you recently got some, go ahead. Sorry.
God damn it! I'm sorry. It's just like it's scary when it happens.
And I just got a check from Evolve Bank and Trust that I still have to cash for $60 for BlockFi. That was unfortunate. So if you got a settlement payment from BlockFi, it won't be exactly what you had in BlockFi, but it'll be something. So yeah, this is scary. This is very scary. So again, why we talk about self-custody, why we talk about being your own bank. As much as we would love better technology, better cybersecurity in the banking industry, certain ones do have it, but many of them don't. And again, we're not saying all this to scare anybody. We're saying all this to be vigilant about your security, be vigilant about your financial. I realized I haven't been showing any of this screen. Just be very careful with what you have out there. And this is the main reason why we believe DeFi is going to be the future of how we do business. Where code is law, smart contracts rule, and you can't have stupid things like this happen. So, but yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like something that Susan has here, it's like we're still in experimentation mode. Unfortunately, as we see more of these things come together, and I don't know how it's out there in the EU, Felipe, but a lot of these tools, and they seem to be a lot better mature, right? There's a lot of I know that there's a lot of Swiss banks that do something like this specifically with Arbitrum. And like Fiat 24, I think, is one we've talked about here on the show. And they seem to work pretty well. But again, you kind of have to be careful, right?
Yeah, true. So just to answer your question, like here in the EU, it's legislation is quite harsh. Everything that's finance related, so that it kind of makes any company that actually deals with these kind of things to go through a process where, I mean, you literally go directly to jail if something happens, So people are a bit more careful when it comes to these things, and I guess that might be one of the reasons why you feel that some of the examples that you mentioned might work well. Because it can go pretty wrong for a founder or a company or everyone involved if something goes wrong.
Yeah, and there's been multiple companies specifically in crypto. Juno Finance, for example, they have their hands tied because they can't do anything. The money is not there with them. It's with this partner that went bankrupt, and they're one of like 3 or 4 companies who, tried to be that really interesting bridge. Like they even said, you will give you extra points if you direct deposit your paycheck into our system. So we have people putting full paychecks into the system, having the ability to, use it to pay for services with crypto, stuff that sounds like it'd be a really awesome idea, which it still is. But unfortunately, when you have a system that can be very fragile like this, man, yeah, it hurts.
Yeah.
It makes me feel very bad because this is max pain for a lot of people in this spot. So I only hope that in the event that you have funds frozen, that they do come to a quick resolution. You can be made whole. I know I'm personally waiting for my funds, so we'll see. We'll see how it works out. But it is very convenient to be able to pay for bills, pay for other things, using money that you have from gains in crypto. It really is. It's a beautiful idea. I just hope that we can find better ways to get to do it out there that makes sense. Last thing we'll talk about before we get into Safeyields is currently the Superchain Festival is coming. Our Optimism clearly didn't want to be outdone by Arbitrum with their short-term and long-term incentive programs that they've been talking about for the last couple of weeks. So here comes the Superfest. Actually 4 of the major Superchain chains are in on this. So that's Base, Mode, Fraxtal, and Optimism, OP Mainnet. Looks like we have at least 17 protocols. So all the big ones: Velodrome, Aerodrome, Uniswap, Aave, Lido, Curve, Morpho, which has just been on Base recently. Looks like all of the liquid restaked platforms got Moonwell on Base. Gearbox on both. Gearbox, I guess, is now on Optimism. Yeah, they just moved to Arbitrum, so now that's good to see there. And then Sturdy, a lot of lending AMMs here. Sturdy Extra, Ionic, Silo, Contango, Spectra, and quite a few others. So we should hopefully see some interesting, juicy incentives, some good yields available to users. And this is a win for all of us here as the everyday investor, right? Because we were looking at Arbitrum as being a really good place to farm right now, along with Base. And now Optimism has now jumped into the fray, bringing both Mode, which is a brand new L2 from them, as well as Fraxtal as a really interesting place to go. So I wanted to get your opinion, Felipe, to see, something like this. This is, of course, bullish for you as a founder overall.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm personally a big fan of Optimism, to be honest. And we've actually tested part of our technology on Optimism yields, and you can get like some pretty cool deals in there. One specifically is like we like to use looping strategies on Optimism. You can get really pretty good yields on assets that pretty much are non-liquidation risks on this strategy, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great. So yeah, that's the news that we have for this week. We'll move on to our Alpha series, which is called What We've Learned. And I wanted to highlight our guest for today. So Felipe, let's talk a little bit about Safeyields. Do you want me to pull up the website? Does that work?
Awesome. Yes.
Okay. So this is the front page for Safeyields. So just wanted to give you the time to introduce Safeyields. What does it do, and what is your end goal for the rest of the year?
Great. Thanks again for having us and this opportunity to just show the protocol.
Of course.
To your community. So Safeyields is basically a decentralized ecosystem for AI-driven trading and DeFi automated strategies. Our technology is called Emma AI, and it's capable of not only generating but building portfolios tailored to your users' risk appetite. So we've been building a conversational interface, just like you can say ChatGPT, that it's really tailored for a hyper-specific kind of let's call it like a point-based algorithm that will tailor your risk appetite and manage a portfolio just for yourself, so without you having to understand what's going on the background. And the good thing about us is that we only use vetted strategies by our specialists regarding even either trading or the DeFi strategies themselves, because TVL, exists for that. And I've searched a little bit about around your community as well, and you're doing a great job teaching people. But not everyone else has the time to go through everything. It's like if you're here, DeFi is not easy. So I want to provide a very simple tool, where you can just leverage everything that we learned so far in a very simple and seamless way, and deploy your portfolios to start generating yields very quickly.
Awesome. Yeah. So you mentioned you're an OG, so I just wanted to kind of get an idea for, what was your journey into DeFi before starting Safeyields, and then after that, of course, I'll ask you why you decided to start Safeyields. But
Yeah, we can move on to that. So I think of myself as an OG. So I got into DeFi specifically in around like 2016, something like that. So pretty, not super early, but pretty early, I would say. So I'm from the time before PancakeSwap was a thing, So it's
yeah,
pretty.
you are an OG.
Yeah, thanks. So as an OG, I think any OG out there, and I think if you are one, you'll share this feeling with me. It's like I made all sorts of mistakes, really, really, really bad ones. So I thought I understood stuff, but I didn't really. So kind of made a bunch of money, then lost most of it, then made a bunch again, and then got confident, and then understood that protocols were not being really honest on the way or how they would take things for the users. So yeah, and that my younger brother was experiencing all this with me, and he kind of like eventually got really tired of having to learn so much, spending so many hours, and then just be scammed or rug pulled, or just having to study all over again the new thing that was coming up, because DeFi is changing instantly, and you never know where you should put your funds, and especially if you're a low tier investor like I was, and I still am. So you don't really want to diversify your portfolio too much, because it makes no sense to spread your money if there's not, if it's such a small amount, So he kind of like got really tired of it. So we joined forces together, myself and my younger brother, and we wanted to start a DeFi protocol where we would manage a treasury with an expert that will allow people just to generate yield by depositing money. That was it. So we started with this very small treasury, around like 20, 30K, if I recall correctly. And it's sitting around now in around like 90K, 80, 90K, something like that. This was like 2 years ago or something, which is pretty insane. We kind of like were lucky, because the strategies just kind of got, the up running that we had from 2021, 2022. But still, we didn't make any money out of it ourselves, because it was a charity-based protocol. So every revenue that we actually did, we actually donated to charity. It was a cool runaway, and let's call it like a first beta test for us to feel how it was to develop on the space. And we kind of like got our separate ways. So we closed, the protocol is still running. It's called Decentralized Foundation, but we kind of closed it for new users. The only users that have access are the ones that are there, because we kind of like got the management, got outside of the management thing. So it's still running, but like for a small group of people. And I ventured myself. So I kind of continue with this concept of, okay, so how can we automate all of this and make things very simple for everyone? And that's when I met our co-founder. He's called Bogdan, who's into AI and machine learning algorithms. So he's been studying it. It's his field of expertise. He's been studying it for more than 12 years now. And he was starting his own company, and they were developing this technology that was able to backtest and actually reverse engineer pretty much any strategy that you see out there, just by tackling the signals. And that's where it clicked. So we can actually maybe automate all of this using his technology. And that's what we came together and started working. We've been working for the past 2 years now, specifically on Safeyields. His technology has been in development for longer than that, but it's been kind of tailored to what we needed. So yeah, all of a sudden we were lucky enough to have access to this amazing technology that it's learning every day, that passes by, and that's where how Safeyields kind of came along.
That's interesting you mentioned that. So I did want to ask about your automated strategy. So that's something I have here on this page from your on this part of your page. So when you mention it's learning all the time, so what's the process like of training a model like that? Is it off of like trades that the system does itself, or are you looking at other trades from around the, from around DeFi? What is the training of that involve?
That's an excellent question, because it's a pretty interesting topic, to be honest, at least for myself.
Yeah, me too.
So our technology is divided into two parts. First one is the trading algorithms, and second one are the DeFi strategies. Okay, so they're two different. They kind of like use the same background, but they actually leverage different things. So on the trading side of things, what we do is the technology is capable of churning the amount of work that humans would do like in 6 months. We were able to do it like 3 to 4 hours. So it's constantly, as long as we have the power and the memory to actually continue churning strategies, we can actually like keep learning and backtesting and deploying new strategies and new portfolios at the same time. And basically, what the technology does is it's twofold actually. So it's on the market, seeing what's happening in the market and what type of strategies are being deployed. Because I don't know if some people are not aware of this, but when we talk about trading, for someone to be winning, another person needs to be losing. Okay.
Right.
So, and what big companies do is, we're being managed by market makers and big companies that have algorithms that kind of like manipulate the market, especially crypto market, which is pretty small compared to forex market, for instance. But even like the most professional traders cannot really just see what the signals are saying. There's other components that need to be analyzed, especially in the like 3 or 4 semesters back that happen, because the cycles kind of like repeat themselves, but sometimes there's just segments of the cycles that are kind of like into place. And what the technology is capable of on one end is to kind of analyze all that's been happening and compare to see in which cycle you are, because it has that capacity. I mean, as humans cannot really do it like in real time. You need time to manage things and to understand what's happening. But the technology has a really good capacity of seeing patterns and understanding where you are. And depending on the conclusion that the technology comes to, it actually updates the portfolio automatically, so you can win against that. It does win a lot of times. It loses other times, because I mean, otherwise we would be like crazy rich by now, and we're not. But
Yeah, it has to lose at some point, right?
Yeah. Because sometimes it's like, especially the crypto market is such a volatile market that the technology cannot really still understand, even with the data that we've had before, because it's so random. Sometimes you cannot really understand what people are doing. But we had pretty good results. So the technology has been live for the crypto portfolio specifically since 2020, I believe. And for the first year we did, I think it was around 60%. And then we kind of like started developing a lot more. And we kind of had a drawdown of, I think it was like 10% on the portfolio, and then up another 30 to 40% last year. And for our trading algorithm, for our trading portfolio specifically, we did actually in 2023, for the first 8 months, we did the 46%, as we're showing on our website. And the portfolio only went down by 5.5%, which is pretty cool. The question raises, and this is something that people asked, is, okay, so could we go like way up into the APR? Yes, we could, but then the drawdown could be lower, and that's a risk. And we're not really fans of like high risk strategies, so we like to be more on the conservative side of things. So, and this is how it works. So it kind of fetches the data from what's happening in the market, but at the same time, we do have trading specialists for the trading side of things that are inputting, so are delivering, feeding human input into the technology as well on a weekly basis. So it means that this is like a safe system that we have, just to make sure that the technology is on track or on where it needs to go. So that's some cool features that we have, and that's how we basically teach the technology. It doesn't only teach itself, but it leverages human input as well.
Yeah, the reason I was curious is because obviously there's different ways to trade. You could do grid bots, you could do arbitrage, you can do something like what Hyperliquid does, where they have community vaults where you're pair trading with whomever, and you're providing volume to that. So just curious to know where where you're sourcing a lot of this stuff with. So clearly you have a team that's putting all of this together. So
yeah, just so you have an idea, and I'm hoping I'm not interrupting, but
no, go fine.
For our crypto portfolios, we are only trading Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin for now.
Okay.
We do have some alpha that I'll leave to the end if you still have time.
Of course.
But we're trading those three, and our trading portfolios actually churn or executes simultaneously around 300 plus different strategies at the same time. So it's not like a single trading bot or a fixed trading bot we have, and those 300 plus strategies are always being renovated depending on how the market is behaving. So that's how it works.
Okay. Nice. So I wanted to ask, do you guys, so obviously you have this system for automated strategies. Do you have any type of liquidity provision built into Safeyields for anyone who wants to maybe contribute on that side?
Yeah, so we will have once. I don't know if you're meaning like for our token itself or for other liquidity pools.
Yeah, like for community pools, like for example, like at most perp dexes, they have some type of liquidity backstop where you can earn yield, and those funds are used to to be in a community pool for trading and stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. So we will have our own liquidity pools in the future with some incentives with partner protocols as well. So it'll be like a good point where you can meet other protocols as well and be rewarding their native tokens as well. But regarding the MA automated DeFi strategies that we're doing, like we also provide liquidity through concerted liquidity strategies. So the good thing about managing a portfolio built by EMA is that you're not just exposed to crypto trading or forex trading or DeFi strategies. You have like a big portfolio. I mean, if you want more exposure to ETH, you can just go ETH on the DeFi strategies and get some yield. So a good example of DeFi strategy that I was mentioning when you talked about optimism is that this was like one of our best performing strategies. So we kind of like bridged the funds to optimism. What the technology did was it kind of looped on a protocol called the granary.
Yep.
So, and it landed wrapped staked ETH against Ethereum. So the liquidation risk here is pretty much non-existent, and you were farming their incentives throughout the process and loop it again. And we actually ended up outperforming Ethereum in a year in around 49%, which is completely insane if you ask me.
Yeah. Shout out to Byte Masons and Justin Bibas. Big fan. They've been on our call before, so good to see people using Byte Masons technology. Big fan. So yeah, I see on this part of the page, get early access to Emma AI now. So I wanted to ask the question, how soon is this coming to Arbitrum or wherever else you're going to be placing it? And how do you get early access to that, I guess is the next question.
Yeah, so we're pretty close to launch. We are hoping to have the technology ready because we're still waiting on some tweaks on the smart contract end and the auditors as well, because security is a big deal for us. So you want to make sure that it's correctly coded and everything, so that there's no exploits going on. But we're hoping for early to mid-August to have everything available, and this will come both the technology and token launch. However,
nice.
Yeah, it's cool. It's pretty close. So a month and a half, pretty much. However, we are conducting a pre-sale in about 2 weeks that will go up to token launch, and whoever buys into the pre-sale will allocate most of the funds into the technology itself as it is right now, and we'll have like kind of like a closed beta for a portfolio that we tailored ourselves. It's more on the conservative side of things, but these people who actually buy the token, the SAY token now, into our pre-sale will actually earn yield until the technology launches to the public, and then they can become stakers or just deposit USD on the technology, take advantage of the technology itself.
Will there be any lock locking on the protocol, or are you allowed to take out your liquidity whenever you like?
No, that's that you're liquid every time. So the only thing
Perfect.
that we couldn't manage on a smart contract basis, because it got way too complex, is that on the trading part of the portfolios specifically, when you have an open position, uh, the smart contract can't really feed that open position, so close a percentage of whatever it was your allocation on that. But what you can do is you'll have access to all of your assets except for the open position, and then when the position closes, you'll revert back the assets as well. So it is liquid. It's just like maybe 95% liquid, and then we'll return once the position closes.
Sure. That certainly makes sense there. Um, so where do you foresee Safeyields in the DeFi space in the next 12 months? Because I'll be honest, we're seeing products like this, but we're not seeing a ton of products like this. So definitely want to get your take on where you think you guys will be by the end of the year and this time next year.
Okay, thanks. So yeah, I think the reason why you don't see like a ton of products like this is that it's pretty hard or pretty complex to have this type of technology. I think that's one thing. So it's very specific. You see some who have, but are not really like they show a lot, but at the same time, there's not much happening. So you cannot really see if the technology is really machine learning and AI algorithms running. So I think that's reason number two. So people kind of like realize that very quickly because there's not much to show. But then again, like we want to go multi-chain, so not only just Arbitrum. Arbitrum was the first step because it just makes sense. It's like one of the fastest and cheapest blockchains out there, and the technology is pretty much scaling very, very fast with any protocol that comes in. So that kind of makes us in a seamless way to integrate the technology so easily. And you have really good perp dexes. So I think like the biggest perp dex that you heard about it. I mean, it has to be GMX
Right.
on the space, right? So that's it's not Arbitrum native, but it was like this the second protocol or second chain that we went through, and we actually wanted to develop on top of GMX, and we kind of ended up scaling a little bit. So we now are able to deploy the technology in any perp dex available and more DeFi portfolios as well. So we're not restricted to some protocols. And this brings us to step number two, which is we want to go multi-chain, make a better web app as well that you'll be able to bridge your funds, your fiat funds into a wallet, just like in a very seamless way where you can just go and explore the Web2 market as well. So just imagine something like Revolut or something where you just deposit your funds and you can invest in different sides of our technology. You can also chat with our technology, and I think that will be pretty big in the future, to be honest. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, use the Solana blinks. We were just talking about that. That'd be cool to just have a web app where you can talk with Emma AI and just like deposit funds, and it'll start putting into the strategy. I think that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely will.
Yeah, something to think about for sure. So, you mentioned you have a little bit of alpha for our audience. Would love to know what that is.
Oh yeah, so it's a new feature that we kind of came across using our technology. So the technology is kind of like a baby where you can teach anything, and then we'll just grow from there. And depending on what you're teaching it just goes like in another direction. It's pretty cool stuff. So one of the things that we started like 3 months ago or something was to teach the technology to go through the 14,000 different tokens that are being listed on a daily basis. And we went through most or the most well-known algorithms from market makers, because most of these tokens are released from market makers. So that's actually how they make most of their money. It's like they launch sometimes tokens for a day or for a month or for a year, it doesn't matter, but they'll manipulate the small liquidity markets and then use the funds that pretty much you as a user invested, and then they kind of like drop it down really quickly. So not only this, we kind of like figured out a way through DEX Screener to analyze if the protocol is actually legit. So there's a score mechanism that we actually go through to understand this. So how much liquidity can you buy and sell both at the same time? Is it a rug? Is the contract open? Is it not? Is it closed? So another like a whole bunch of questions where we kind of like understand. You give it a score to each token, and we decide if we will buy it or invest in the first 5 to 10 minutes after launch. And this kind of like, it's a strategy that it's been yielding yields for like ridiculous amounts. So it's like a super high risk kind of strategy, but it's been earning yields in the matters of like 50 to 500% on a single trade. So it's pretty insane. You know, like when you catch tokens that are very early launch, and then you get the liquidity up really quickly, and then you can, if you exit at the precise time, you can get very lucky. So we've been having pretty good results, and that's something that we are really excited about to show people in the future. So I think we'll have this online in about like 4 to 6 months maximum.
Oh wow!
It will be pretty cool. It's already trading on our private accounts. It's already live trading, and it's been crazy to see what's happening with the trades. But it's pretty cool, yeah. And on top of this, the technology will also, like for the tokens that actually perform well and have the highest score, the technology will leave a very small position open, like 5% of the profits that you took or something, and leave it for like months and months. So we're calling this the moonbag strategy because
I was about to say the moonbag strategy, right?
Yeah, we're calling it the moonbag strategy. So I haven't registered the idea yet. So
fair enough.
Go ahead and file up the name. No, I'm just messing.
You better hurry up before somebody who sees this might do it. So no, that's awesome. Yeah. I'm excited, man. I'm excited to work with you guys, and as you get closer to launch, you know, we'll most likely have you back on just to kind of tell us some more about, you know, what we can do with Emma and what, you know, walk through some demos or something like that. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah, pretty stoked about that. Thank you.
Yeah, I would be too. Yeah. So, one last piece of alpha I'll leave you guys with. This is something. Speaking of Deck Screener, if you go on a Deck Screener right now and check out deckscreeners.com/moonshot, they now have a meme coin launchpad. And I'm like, this was not on my 2020. I've been saying this all year. This has not been on my 2024 bingo card. I wasn't looking for DN404. You know, I wasn't looking for celebrity meme coins, pump.fun, time.fun, and now we got Moonshot on Deck Screener. So yeah, excited to see, I'm actually excited to see what your platform can do with this information as well. So
we are
something to consider looking at.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sure. Definitely will.
Yeah. Anything else you want to plug before we head home? Go ahead, Felipe. All for you, sir.
Just really thank you guys for having us. It's really like the opportunity is great. I mean, your community seems pretty knowledgeable as well, and I'm looking forward to do something together. I mean, I have some ideas where we could cooperate, so I'm looking forward to it.
Excellent. Yeah. I mean, one thing we would love to do is, help, maybe help you get some guides going on how to educate the public on how the best way to use Safeyields moving forward. But
that's definitely something that we can do. Yeah. Imagine putting those on the technology itself.
Exactly. Love that idea. Right. Love it. Well, again, we had Felipe from Safeyields here. We'll put all our links in the description on the video, as well as on our socials. Make sure you follow them. Make sure you visit them. And excited to see you guys launch and get ready and see this roadmap play out. I think it's a bright future ahead for you guys. So all the best to you. Thank you so much for being here with us. And so again, join us for free. School.com/Beacon for total value locked. Happy to have you guys here today. Great show. Great talk here with Felipe from Safeyields.io. Hoping to have him back on panel again, or just to demo stuff for Safeyields. Excited to have you on in the future. So thanks for being here with us. That we are at the top of the hour. Unfortunately, we don't have time for call for help today, but on another call, we'll answer more of your questions. If you have any questions out there, feel free to reach out. Happy to assist in any way that we can. With that said, Felipe, stick around for a quick second. We're going to say goodbye to everybody here. And thanks for joining us today. Have a great week, and we'll see you out there. Beacons up. Banks down. See ya.
See ya.